Assless Chaplain. I run and marry people, officiate weddings at the Assless Chapel. Basically, you know, our theory is you shouldn't ever trust an officiant if you can't see his ass. So we marry people while we wear assless chaps. And I feel like, you know, we're like the 70% of Burning Man camps that just start with a good pun, and then you figure out what you're going to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. I mean, are you signing real marriage certificates, or is it all in show marriages?
Well, so Nevada, surprisingly enough, is a difficult place if you're not from Nevada to officiate weddings because they want to protect their like local business.
All of those chapels on the Vegas Strip really need protection.
Yeah. So
what if someone from Oregon just wanted to marry people?
Well, you can do it. It's just there's paperwork and fees.
Mm-hmm.
And so I gift 2 legal weddings a year. And other than that, they can't be legally binding because it's just too much for me to do all that.
You gift 2 legal weddings. Do you know what they are when you go out there, or do you find them?
No. You again, with the paperwork, you like have to line it up well in advance. So usually we find people like on Facebook, to be honest. Like I just put something out. I'm like, who's getting
legally married?
Yeah. And but you know, some people do really. Like, some people like to just do some stupid-ass weddings, like, that I love. Like, some guy married a puppet he made of himself that looks like himself.
Aw.
That's the only time I was able to invoke the right of prima nocte.
What's that?
I'll let you and your listeners look it up. But some people want to have really serious weddings, and they just go get married at a courthouse somewhere else. But what most of the weddings are people who are like, hey, this will be fun. Let's get married at Burning Man. And then what I do is I like sit down with people and I get to know them a bit. I ask them about their relationship, how they feel about love. Like,
you do pre-marriage counseling for these weddings.
Yeah, sort of. And then they start to like really get into it because they're sharing these feelings with each other. And then I always put together some really emotional thing. And pretty much everybody who shows up and is like, this is going to be fun. I'm like, you and all your fucking guests are going to be crying by the end of this. And it's going to be a really good thing. And you know,
how long does from strangers walking off the street to nuptial bliss? How long is that?
20 to 30 minutes, and most of that is the interview. It's Burning Man. Like one thing I say is like you want to plan generally a short ceremony. And if it's going to go long, it should be because, for instance, the groom ate too much acid and has a whole lot of vows to say, you know, like, because that could be pretty interesting.
What other services do you provide other than obviously the officiant and some pre-marriage counseling? We
got a dome with like wedding clothes for everyone and their guests. So
everyone can get dressed up appropriately.
Yeah. And you know, there's a wide range there. There might be like a G-string for a man that is like an alligator something, you know, or it might just be a really nice wedding dress. So it's kind of, we try and make sure people can hit, you know, the style they want for their wedding. Because that's our big thing is, you know, a lot of people get married at Burning Man because, you know, you get married in the default and you got to like invite like 3 uncles you don't want and your mom's friend and your grandma who's still pissed that like you're marrying somebody of the same gender or different, you know, like a lot of people.
People who would be disapproving of an alligator on your dick while you get married.
Yes, exactly. So, you know, the big thing is like figure out what people need, what they want, and go for that, you know.
Do you perform weddings outside of Burning Man, or is this the only location?
I do it outside of Burning Man, but outside of Burning Man, I don't bring like a dress-up dome. I don't bring a bar, you know. I don't supply the flower girl or the photographer, which we do all that at Burning Man. We actually have an amazing wedding photographer.
You have a in-camp flower girl?
Or sometimes flower boy.
Yeah. Flower girl is ungendered.
Yeah. And like one of the fun things is letting them figure out how are you going to do this without creating moop. So like we had one lovely young lady who like made a skirt that all the flowers were tied to so they never hit the ground.
Oh, nice.
You know, some people do bubbles. Cute. So
I was kind of instantly seeking that solution in my head, and what I came up with was a net of flower petals that you can kind of roll out like a carpet and then drag back up.
I was thinking that the actual part of the flowers is mooping them in front of you on your way up to. So there's like petals on the pathway, but it's actually the flower girl goes in front and picks them all up.
Ooh, hey, if y'all ever get bored of whatever you're doing at Burning Man, stop by. You got a job.
Yeah, excellent. I'm so game for that.
I could throw a wedding or two.
Hi, Beth.
Hi.
Hi, Rex.
Hey, welcome to Accuracy Third. Today on Accuracy Third, we're joined by Max the cat. He is the longest and best cat.
He's a good cat.
He's such a great boy.
He is, and he's going to be lonely when we leave him for Playa in just a couple weeks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Happy last episode of the season, kids.
Oh.
It's a good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A good time was had by all.
Well, by 2/3 of us with the Assless Chaplain. When the Assless Chaplain came to town, I was lying on the couch watching Dan to Dan with one of my ears seeping blood into a piece of cotton, while the other ear was also seeping blood into a different piece of cotton.
It was distressing. You would just look over and there'd just be blood coming out of D-Day's ear like a goddamn special effect of a movie.
You know what's really awesome for somebody who messes around in an audio medium is slowly going deaf.
I have this
Quickly
problem
going deaf.
where I'm oozing now. Not right now, but more often than I'd like to be.
More oozing than one hopes for in any given calendar year.
Yeah, like ear oozing is pretty distressing.
Yeah, I don't love it. And also it's something where like maybe you're oozing just a little bit, or maybe you have oozed and like the ooze is gone, but there's a little kind of crumbly, proteiny leftover on your ear business.
Dried plasma and blood in your ear?
A scab, if you will.
More crumbly than a scab, like the stuff on top of an apple crumble.
A waxy scab.
More oatmeal-y.
Oatmeal.
Ear streusel.
But we're not talking about ear desserts today. Today, we're talking to Assless Chaplain, a man who, at the Assless Chapel, performs Burning Man weddings at Burning Man.
And I believe it's center camp this year. I believe.
Well, maybe.
Check the schedule.
Yeah, there is a what, where, when, and there's information in it that I will never see. Something that is mentioned in this episode is alligator underwear, which is mentioned by Assless Chaplain. I don't know anything about alligator underwear, but I do know something about elephant underwear, and it is the underwear that I found in my father's underwear drawer when I was a child that has a whole trunk area for your dingus to go into.
Was it like printed like an elephant, like novelty underwear? Or was it just a cock sleeve?
It was like purple and silky or satiny with fabric ears
Oh, it's
flopping off it.
erotic underwear.
Yes.
Wait, fabric ears. So it really was. It was purple elephant themed erotic underwear.
I remember it being like purple and lavender. It very well could have been, some sort of old grayish purple. We'll never know. My memory's not that good for shit that happened like a week ago, let alone 40-ish years ago.
Clarifying question. So the ears are separate and it's just the dick goes in the trunk? It's just a nice silky dick sack?
I believe there were also eyes maybe embroidered on it, maybe silk screened. The point is, the alligator underwear that Assless Chaplain is going to mention, they remind me of my father's erotic underwear. And now everyone knows.
Do you think he had to go into Chelsea to buy those?
I don't think
I don't think you could. There was no internet. I don't think you could get a mail order.
There wasn't an internet, but there were the sex shops just over the New York State border up
You guys
81.
are assuming something. I imagine that this is something that he got like literally for his bachelor party and then never threw
They
away.
were newer than that.
Yeah, and the further you go back into his history for this purchase, the more extreme measures he'd have to go to make the purchase.
Yep. Distressing.
Uh-huh.
Distressing, but charismatic, just like the Assless Chaplain.
Oh, hey, way to bring it back around.
Thank you. I wasn't here for the interview, but I did get to spend the last couple days over the last couple weeks editing this interview, and I've got to say, what an incredibly engaging, charismatic, delightful man who is unfortunately a Zionist. So, content warning, conversations about Zionism are in this episode. Also, conversations about libertarianism and Beth's need to see hardcore sex in public on Playa.
Is it a need or just a strong desire?
It's a wish.
Well, our listeners will be able to decide whether it's a need or a wish based on how Beth phrases it in the episode. When I was writing the show notes editing, it felt like a need.
Is this like a Maslow thing here? Where are we on the pyramid?
Maslow's horniarchy.
Maslow's hierarchy of thirst.
Oh, shit. That's great. It's too bad we don't get to name the episodes ourselves. This is already an episode with a pretty great name. This is Season 8, Episode 16, Honeymoon at the Orgy Dome.
Get your Maslow's hierarchy of thirst t-shirts at burnernark.com. Burnernark.com. Thirst traps for your chest.
That's not bad either. That's going in at the end of the episode. And speaking of the end of the episode, if you would like to hear my thoughts on Zionism, stay tuned to the end of the episode. I've got some thoughts. And here's Assless Chaplain.
I'm actually like vehemently anti-wedding and marriage. It's like tough to joke it down in default world. I have worked in the wedding mines. I don't know if you, as an officiant, if you have ever been in the like every weekend we're going out to Napa and setting up uplights in behind a bunch of wine barrels.
No, I got to tell you, like, I feel like I'm actually a really great officiant, but I feel like that would fall apart really quickly if I ever tried to do it for any sort of a job.
Yeah.
And I've worked like in wine, and I started at the bottom, like tasting rooms and stuff. And like, I love weddings. I absolutely love them, but I would hate to work in that field.
I mean, like, why do you love weddings?
I don't know. Like, when they go well, everybody's super happy. Everyone's having a great time. It's like a big party. Everyone's thinking about love and everyone's emotional. I don't know. I dig that.
Yeah. No, tell me more. Like, as someone who just saw the horrible, blatant capitalism behind it and a bunch of really entitled assholes. I mean, I was working at a venue where you were renting the venue baseline for like $45,000. Oh. So it was like the package that I came with, because I'm a part of a package, was at least another $5,000 on top of that for DJ and lighting service. And then there'd be things like 4-horse carriages that would bring the bride in and out, and people not thinking about the fact that horses poop. And there would be, you know, color-themed candy bars. It was just, my time in the wedding mines was really deeply in consumer capitalist culture and like really heteronormative, you know, in a way that was pretty distressing. Other than the caterers are always fucking hilarious and have the best stories.
I am sure of that. I you know, like the weddings I've done in the default world have been like in a forest or like on somebody's parents' farm.
These are officiating your friends' weddings because you love them.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I will say my toughest weddings to do have been at Burning Man because sometimes, and I'm going to be careful, I don't want to give details where somebody feels bad, but sometimes there are people who treat it like some Napa wedding. And I'm like, really, like, I'm there for you, right? But like
some real bridezilla shit.
Yeah. And then it's kind of like, okay, you can go away now. And I'm like, you know, I still like, please, can you just, let me put it this way. If you are going to have me marry you, 2 things I would really appreciate is like, try not to switch up the location at the last minute. Try not to do it on the open Playa at like 4 p.m.
Oh, God.
And also, please, like, I know everybody wants to talk to you after you get married, but like, please, after 5 minutes, like, gather yourself and your witnesses so I can make sure your paperwork is going to get done and done right and like go through so this will count. Like, so let me just say, like, there obviously are people who haven't done that. It's cool. Like, you're getting married. I get it. Like, this isn't the thing top of mind, but just like as a public service announcement for myself and other officiants, those would be 3 good rules to stick to.
My guess is the folks that are coming out to get married at Burning Man don't have a coordinator, that you are also stepping in and doing that role for them.
Yeah, I try to do like 2 Zoom meetings in advance so we can go over these things.
Do these people know how lucky they are? Do they really appreciate it?
Most.
Good.
Most do.
Good.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers, your marriage is such a complex bitch. Be nice to everyone who's helping you.
You're coming with me at some point, and I'm going to be like, just so you know, I brought a professional heckler. Like, don't take it too to heart. Like, we still love you.
She's going to create a role for herself. She's going to just walk behind the processional. Remember, you are mortal.
Oh, you know what? That kind of fits because you're referencing the thing the Roman emperor would always have a slave do that.
Yep.
And they basically treated you like a slave when you were in the marriage mines, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, like more like a pet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
This is one of the places where I was literally like taping down cables up to the place where folks are giving speeches, right? So they have a big reception and there'll be like a podium for all the speeches to happen at. And I was like crawling, taping down, and a guy patted me on my head. Hadn't even said hi, hadn't introduced himself. Wow. I was just taping near him, and he just patted me on the top of my head.
That is some pet shit right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta say, that's like, I feel like that's the thing us shorter folks, like, no one's doing that to him, you know? Like, have you been to a Burning Man wedding before?
I never have, partially because of this, like, so I got over some of my resistance to weddings for one wedding, which was my best friend's wedding, where he asked me to be his best person. And I spent like a year figuring out how to really show up. And these two are feminists. They're radicals. They got married at a summer camp by a river. It was really pretty. They had like smashed the patriarchy in their vows. And it was still like, I have to deprogramming my entire cynicism about this existing in order to show up for my dear friend the way that he is asking me to. And it was really lovely. And I did it for like a whole weekend. And then I got to revert back to fuck this thing. Fuck it.
You know, I think I'm going to make as like I'm putting on my bucket list. So one of the things with weddings is at Burning Man is they're on a lot of people's bucket list. On my bucket list is going to be to get you to marry yourself at the Assless Chapel.
Oh, that's easy. Marrying myself.
Well, I don't know, just because you're aversion to the ceremony.
Can I be your maid of honor? Man of honor?
Interesting. I think a good first step is I would love to see a Burning Man wedding. I normally avoid them, but
You are a Burning Man wedding?
No. I mean, maybe off in the distance. We have that picture of the people getting married next to the headless tits.
Oh.
That's about as close as I've gotten.
I thought you were going to say people get giving head at the wedding, and I will tell you, so we provide rings for people. Some of the rings we provide weren't necessarily manufactured to go on a finger, and I've definitely had a bride apply it not to a finger, and that was awesome.
Fantastic. That is true romance right there.
Yes. And they were getting married actually that was like their second year coming to me to marry them, which was really sweet to see them come back.
Aw.
Do you get a lot of newly formed couples?
Like we just met and now we want to get married.
So we do. We actually. So we make wedding certificates that are Assless Chapel wedding certificates, and
adorable.
We have a few choices, and one of them is married till Monday. So, like, if you, like, fall in love, like, in the middle of the night, show up in the morning, like, we will marry you till Monday, and it has something on it that says, like, this is automatically annulled when the man burns or something like that. so you can, you know, go grab someone else's temple burn night, you know.
Married till Monday.
Not that, like, you know, a Burning Man wedding, you know, so many of them, of course, aren't. So many of them are pretty open. Like, we've definitely had people honeymoon at the Orgy Dome, or you know, and to be completely honest, there have been a couple times where the thank you I got from the bride was lovely.
Yes.
You know?
My married partner and his wife, the first year they came out and joined me at Burning Man, got remarried at Burning Man. They'd bought, because they didn't want to take their wedding rings out there because they had warned them about, you know, don't bring out anything you can stand loose. So they got in these really cheap, just for funsies, like $15 rings that gave John some sort of horrible rash. Like,
yes.
Just like sweated into it and it created like a lesion.
God, that's a service I should start providing. I should find out, like, what's the first aid cream for that.
For shitty wedding rings.
For shitty wedding rings, yeah.
Divorce.
Oh, yeah.
Do you do divorces as well?
No, because we do like legal weddings and stuff. How fucked up would it be if I was like, we do weddings and divorces?
Oh. What about natural separations?
Explain.
You know, you can have a ceremony to separate. You could have a loving separation that is honoring the thing that you shared while mutually agreeing to end it.
A de-escalation ceremony.
You know, I don't think I would do that at a camp, but to be honest, I'm kind of going through something like that, and I would love if we could get to, like, we're totally amicable. I'd love if we could get to a point that we'd feel comfortable being like, hey, like, let's acknowledge we gotten through it. This is good. Like, and I'd love to do that Burning Man, because that used to be our thing, was burning together. We actually had a Burning Man wedding. Like, my first Burning Man wedding was my own back in 2010.
That's a really beautiful way to do a conscious separation because it's the same thing. You're gathering your community, you're acknowledging your love and commitment to each other, and sometimes that love and commitment is best as now we are consciously separating.
Yeah. That's been a really interesting thing is as somebody was like married at Burning Man and now that marriage is, dissolving, being the person who like marries people and some, like my campmates and folks often ask me about that. And I'm like, no, it's kind of amazing. Like, it's not a bad thing. Like that helps me work through stuff. And it gives me like a little piece of those people's happiness, that like hope and love, you look skeptical.
You're going to keep seeing that look. You just have to ignore it. I can't hide it.
Did you not go to John's Playa wedding?
No, they were off on a date. They didn't like invite people. It was spontaneous that they renewed their vows on Playa. I would go to one if someone invited. I'd go to one if particular people invited me. It is and I would go to one because you invited me.
All right,
but
do it.
I'm interested in how my brain engages with weddings outside of the structure that usually destroys them for me. I haven't worked a wedding in years and years and years. It's just still there. Like how stuck in cultural ruts they were, so much so that it felt like no one was saying anything original. Everyone was repeating these scripts, even if they thought they made them up, that were saying the same structure that they thought that they were supposed to be in. And I find love and relationships to be the most important thing that we have. And it makes me sad to see so many people mold them into a single shape that is often sexist, patriarchal, capitalistic. It's often like, my little feminist heart is still like, I can't believe we have fathers give their daughters away. I can't believe we still fucking wear white. I can't believe that we afford these privileges that women, this is supposed to be the best day of your life and all about you in a way that it's like, if it was all about you, why wouldn't you just do it with your partner as opposed to all of your family being there? If it isn't about community, why are we doing this in such big halls?
It's interesting. Like, I will say most of the weddings I end up planning look in some ways the basic structure like a traditional wedding. Most brides almost invariably still wear white. Not always, but
I don't mind white. If you're going to have a dress that you wear once, white is fine.
Yeah. But like overall, they look, sound very, very different, obviously, at Burning Man. And I really dig that because it can go fucking any direction, right? Like people come up with some cool, sometimes really weird shit they want to do. Yeah, so I don't know. You'll have to come check one out. So like one of the things is there are not enough officiants and lots of people who want to get married at Burning Man on some level.
Oh shit, I'll officiate. I'm a good public speaker.
You should do it. Like weddings at burningman.org, some volunteer named Armadillo, make sure to be able to like give people information on it. And there's like a 1-page thing on the Burning Man website about it. I wrote like a 9-page, like, this is how you officiate or plan a wedding at Burning Man. Please, motherfuckers, start doing it. Because I know, like, there's got to be 1,000 Universal Life Church reverends out there on Playa, like, right? So I'm just like, if your like friend asks you to, like, here's the primer. Email Armadillo. Like, just make sure there are enough of us officiants because so many people want to do it.
I should really make myself available.
If you officiate, I'll go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Where were you located this year?
445 and D. So we were at 415 and C for a couple years. I really dug that. 445 and D ain't bad at all. You know what we were? We were like the remnants. So when I applied for placement with Burning Man in 2022, it's the first time I ran a camp. I didn't think this through, but it ended up being great. I guess if you send placement, like an application for a new camp, and remember, this was the year they weren't placing like almost anybody new, or at least not getting them tickets. I didn't know I didn't have tickets till July because that was a year that it was like the opposite of this year, right? And if you're like, hey, we do like inclusive weddings for all sorts of different folks, and we were Assless Chaps, they're like, we'll put you in the gayborhood because it's a gay wedding camp, right? And it was a ton of fun. And then they sort of moved the remnants of Gayborhood 2.0, from what I understand, to like 445 and D from 415 and C. Like, we saw some of our old neighbors there. Whatever. Honestly, 415 and C, 445 and D, like, both are pretty sweet locations. Not too loud, close in enough to everything. It was...
I have yet to run into like unsweet locations. Like nobody other than like shitty neighbors. I don't think of people. I mean, there was the year that all the fire guild stuff went way off because Illumination Village didn't fill out their form early enough.
Right, and got pushed way the fuck back.
Yeah, there was some complaints about that, but some people really liked it too.
I imagine being placed near 10 and 2 is probably not great.
I mean, unless that's what you want.
Even if that's what you want, that means that you have to shit in the party potties.
Oh, that's true.
But don't you think those big sound camps have their own potties?
I'm not talking about being those big sound.
What if you're one of the coffee camps next to it?
Yeah.
What if you're at like 945 and G?
You know, every place has its fit. Like, I used to always camp on, we would just say Outer Rim because the city kept growing. And nowadays I'm like, man, I'd hate to be that far out. You know, the city's a lot bigger for one. But at the time, it was nice because A, I liked the folks who we camped with and around. And B, you could get some sleep, you know?
The further out you are in the city, I think the more likely you are to bond with your neighbors.
Yeah, I will say, though, like, camping on Outer Rim, what it taught me, because my first burn, I was a really bad burner. I didn't know what I knew nothing. So, you know, the one thing is, like, I learned, don't get too fucked up if you're on Outer Rim, because it's a long way in and out, you know? So, like, it teaches you a little bit of, like, especially alcohol discipline. Like, what's the one thing at Burning Man
That
really
fucks the
keeps
most
you-
people up.
Yeah. You know, that keeps you from seeing shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, you guys ready for my origin story?
Yes, please. Yes.
How did you wind up in our cult?
So when I was just a young boy in Indiana, I was 14, and my best friend and I were doing our best to, let's say, live the Hunter S. Thompson lifestyle.
At 14.
Suburban Indiana. And I read on, like, back then, like, a bulletin board online about this thing called Burning Man, where, you know, I think the person was like, there's this something about, like, people run around naked in the desert on acid. And I was like, yo, that sounds...
I like all of those things.
Yeah, that sounds a lot more like Hunter S. Thompson stuff than anything we're doing out here in suburban Indiana.
God damn it, we don't even have a desert in Indiana.
Yes, that was the thing we were, that was what we were like, we need to go to the desert. That was basic. So anyways, I was like, we should go, like, one day, right? And then fast forward a bunch of years, and we are both kind of in between stuff. I've been traveling internationally for like 9 months and then decided to drive around the U.S. And Danny, he also didn't have much like going on at the time. He was like, hey, dude, let's go to Burning Man. I'm like, Burning Man? He's like, remember that thing? I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about it. Let's do it.
What year was it?
This was 2005.
Okay.
So we went to like a record store in Indiana and bought a ticket for like $95 or $120 or something. And I don't know. He put me in charge of food, which was a bad idea. I went to Costco and I was like, I got cans of green beans, you know. And
how old were you?
22.
Yeah.
It was like, and I bought like all the booze at Costco, right? So I was like, we'll just drink our corn from a jar, you know, like, and we drove out. We made like a 2-week road trip out there, basically stopped anywhere that one of us knew a nice lady, you know, that would let us stay at her place. And like eventually, and on the way, we like met somebody through someone who was like, yo, you can camp with my camp at Outer Rim. So we show up. It's a fucking dust storm, but we don't know that like we should just sit our asses down and wait.
You didn't read the survival guide or anything?
I think he did. But like we fuck around. First of all, we've been in each other's shit for like 2 weeks. We fuck around with like tarps. We can't do anything. Eventually the dust storm dies down. We like get a tent up. I'm going to describe how we're the worst burners. Then I'm going to get to how I got to the Assless Chapel. But finally we get something built and we just go out and we have a great time, but we get separated. I like somehow find my way back at night. I mean, remember, this is 2005, so like the city's not built yet, even though gates are open. It's Outer Rim. Somehow I find, and he just like, as soon as I get into tent, is like, dude, you don't know what I've been through. I'm like, you don't know what I've been through. And first of all these recollections are not mine. They're from our campmates. And it was like our Playa Mona, who designed years ago the Burning Man logo. But she eventually starts yelling at us because we're yelling at each other like, hey, stop puking in my shoe, right? and in the morning, my still campmate Curtis, who this last burn was his 20th, we still camped together. he like comes to see who these fuckers are, and it's just like two dudes passed out, buck ass naked on the bare Playa, like empty beer bottles, whiskey bottles, wine bottles around, but they were wonderful, and they like kind of taught us the way of Burning Man. We fell in love with Burning Man. We kept going back. 2010, he planned my Playa wedding. I did not plan. It was a surprise wedding. After like 2 weeks after my legal wedding, we went to Burning Man with our friends for a honeymoon, and he like got everyone together, got the USS Nevada, you know, like it's one of the pirate ships. It's been coming a long time. Got like a string quartet. I'm Jewish, so he found a rabbi. I'm doing this in air quotes, like basically somebody who had a yarmulke, I guess, like. And we had this amazing wedding. My Playa mom, Mona, from my first year was there. A bunch of folks were there. Curtis was there. Anyways, it was beautiful. A couple months later, I lost him in a really tough way that I won't go into for, you know, privacy. And I went back in 12. I wasn't ready in 11. I was like, oh, it'll be healing, but I really wasn't ready. And it was pretty destabilizing for me. We were really, really close. Mm-hmm. And I kind of let myself get lost. And like, you know, now I do, let's just say, a job that a lot of people would say is a bit douchey, right? So I got lost in my career and kids and mortgage. And then in 2022, I was like, I have to go back to Burning Man. Like, I've lost myself. I'm not doing great. And I also never was able to celebrate him the way he should be celebrated. Like, I'd always end up mourning him. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll marry people. I have that ULC, like, officiant status. I've done some weddings by now. I'll take, like, some of his fire and light it for other people. And so I was telling my wife that I wanted to do this. She was like, you should call it the Assless Chaplain. And I'm like, you're a genius. And she was like, I will make you some nice chaps. And that's how it happened. And it's been one of the greatest things in my life for, like, my, I don't, you know, whatever you want to call it, my soul, my spirit, my mental health, you know, I think it's funny because I won't go into details, but my camp is pretty degenerate. Yet, like going to Burning Man is one of the things that like anchors me. Like whenever I'm there, I'm like, all right, man, you gotta, you know, work out, eat well, drink, you know, like I don't know, something about Burning Man like inspires me to be truly better, you know, even though
because you'll die if you don't.
Right? It's the fact that the environment is trying to kill you. You're like, oh, I woke up this morning and I can barely breathe. I probably should exercise.
I need to drink all of this water, eat some vegetables, and do some push-ups.
I mean, there are definitely days at Burning Man where I'm like, my goal is to brush my teeth and eat after eating a full meal.
How big is your camp?
We're small. We're really small, actually. Well, I shouldn't say really small. I'm sure there are. But I think this year we were 16.
16, that's a great size. Yeah. That's so manageable.
I don't want to go bigger. To be honest, I don't want to be smaller because it is a lot of work. And
you need a bunch of hands. Like once you get smaller than that, then you are often without the number of hands that you need. And then you have a couple of people working too hard.
And like, honestly, if you're below 13, placement will only give you 50 by 100. And like, we need to build a chapel. There needs to be an aisle, you know, like that takes up some space. Uh-huh. But I wouldn't want to be that small anyways.
Yeah.
To be honest, like it's nice to have the folks in extra hands because it's a wedding. And when somebody like doesn't show up because they like got waylaid by like a yoni worship ceremony somewhere, like, you know, you need someone else there to fill in for them.
Where are you guys based out of?
So people come from all over, of course. It's a Burning Man camp, but I'm in Healdsburg, or just outside of Healdsburg. One of my core builders is also from the Healdsburg area. I'll just call him by his Playa name, Stupid. So Stupid comes out with me. He insisted. I would not have made this, let this stick if he didn't insist. And we have a few other folks in Northern California, but we have a pretty big contingent that comes out of a really funky, amazing town people should visit in Colorado called Salida. And I only know of Salida because before I ever went to Salida, I met like a dozen burners from Salida. Now, Salida has like 3,000 people. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I went there to visit. Cool place. Like you show up there and you're like, oh, I bet this place is like 5% burner, you know? Mm-hmm. It's just full of artists. It's a cool little town.
Salida.
That's not a cool little town name.
No.
You hear Salida, you're thinking mercury poisoning.
I was thinking like itchy flesh, like you need something to treat your Salida.
Yeah. So I mean, Salida does have like that counterbalancing, like, you know, Colorado's version of rednecks. And we actually had a camper she had made and brought out this like big life-size cardboard cutout of like one of those redneck dudes from Salida that she knows from the bar and just like put it up so they could take, and she treated it like, you know, the little duck anomaly or the gnome anomaly that she like took pictures, like so she could do that with this guy who, of course, would never go to Burning Man. Be like, here he is, at I was gonna say threat camp, but actually for a dude like that, threat camp might have been like one of the best places.
Yeah, I think Stiffy Lube was.
When did they stop coming, right? They stopped coming a while ago. I loved that. They were close to Outer Rim, so I used to be pretty close to them. I just loved how mind-blowingly out there that idea was.
I miss rampant hardcore sex at Burning Man out in public.
I think I heard you say that on a past episode.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I'm going to say there are no weapons near you, right? So I'm a little bit of like one of those old school libertarian burners. Oh. Not like I show up at meetings.
Finance guy?
Yeah, who would have guessed? I'm not like libertarian to the point like I show up at like, the party meetings where there's some dude who is probably a technical genius but wears his underwear on the outside of his pants because of some fucking weird shit, But like first of all, I miss a little bit of that vibe because those dudes are genuine weirdos. Like some of those libertarian dudes are genuine weirdos. Some are creeps, don't get me wrong. Shit, I was going somewhere with this, but
you can go to the Nevada Regional if you want to. It's a whole bunch of cattle ranchers
That's
and
true.
libertarians.
The Yahoos are still out.
Oh, really?
It's a nice vibe. It's not bad. You just don't get into political conversations with them.
Yeah, so I don't try to get into political conversations anyways. And where I actually was going with this is I had a year, I'm curious where you would have stood on this. So whatever year it was like when the Occupy protests were happening. So remember they had the like Bank of America and Merrill Lynch, and they like burnt like the fake Wall Street. Although
that's cool. I didn't come that year.
It actually was really cool. Although I'm just saying this to piss you off, being a bunch of incompetent socialists, like they didn't pull off the fire on time, whatever. But like people had a giant Occupy protest there, like to show their support. And for me, it was really weird seeing anything political there. I mean, every now and then you saw like like a Ron Paul sign from some douchebag, some idiot who like wanted to put that at his. So I should have, and I meant this completely as a joke. I love the Save the Man protest. Does that still happen? I hope so.
No clue.
I would be surprised if it didn't. It's been going forever, but I also don't have any positive knowledge about that.
So I showed up with my camp, which is, like fucking liberal lesbians and shit at the time, and we made signs that just said ridiculous stuff, like, because everyone was there doing Occupy protests, like, fuck the 1%, greed is good, like any horrible fucking Gordon Gekko thing we could come up with. And we thought this would be hilarious and people would appreciate it. Holy shit. We were ostracized. Everyone like shot daggers at us. And the only person who like had an interaction with that no one actually came up and did anything negative, but one person came up and was like, hey man, I don't have the balls to do what you're doing, but I agree with everything. And I'm just like, no, that's not the point either, man. Like, point is, like, there's a giant political protest at Burning Man. It would be hilarious to like protest it with crazy ass shit,
Yeah. I wasn't there that year. I mean, but I also don't know what the fuck you're saying. I feel like not all I see, but I'm constantly engaged with political Burning Man art and political Burning Man action. And maybe that's just the different things that I see, but it also is stuff I'm interested in.
No,
my second year was American Dream, and I felt like that was an incredibly
cool year.
Politically engaged year. That it was like every piece of art was saying something deeply political, and sometimes it was just like poop, but it was poop and America.
Well, I hear you. Hope and fear during the Bush administration. I hear what you're saying, like, and I kind of like that, the somehow skirting around in a way to like have people think in bigger terms than just like partisan politics. I gotta say, like, I mean, somebody could certainly say that I'm fine, right?
This year was really political. This year was really fucking political with all the Palestinian stuff and the strong Israeli pushback. There were numerous confrontations in the temple where people were pulling down Palestinian like mourning stuff, saying this is political. So
I actually really wanted to share with you, because I heard the last episode. I listened to you guys. First of all, again, no weapons nearby. I'm a Zionist.
Are you?
That doesn't mean that I don't care about all human life, including Palestinian life. I mean, I'm a person who's had a romantic relationship with a Palestinian in the past. Like, while I was in Israel, like, I not some weird thing. Like, just we were kids, and not. I don't want to go too far down this, but a long time ago, these people used to interact a lot more. Right.
Sure. Yeah.
I will say that in my experience at this last burn, I actually thought the Burning Man community overall did a good job with things. Like, I mean, as somebody who spent time hanging out with like a Gazan straight out of, I mean, not recently out of, but like somebody who was born in Gaza, like grew up in Gaza, and we had some great interactions. I had like a thing after thing where I saw people from both sides giving each other space to mourn and whatnot. That being said, I heard what you had on the last episode, and I've also heard from Israelis who've talked about interactions that were clearly far worse than that, and people doing fucked up stuff, from both sides to both sides. And I'm not trying to, you and I probably see things differently on this, but I'm not trying to necessarily say there was any equivalency. I don't know. I will say, like, in my experience, the community, like, over this very, very emotional issue, it was like one of the places that I saw the Burning Man community shine the most in the experiences I had. And I was very saddened to hear again from like people on both sides that there were people who, yeah, like you were saying, there were people who went to, was it the Friday night thing?
No, we heard about people pulling down images of people who were killed in Palestine and pulling down Palestinian flags in the temple for being political.
I heard that from the other side, and the reason is because I'm more tapped into that. Mm-hmm. What I'll say is, like, I think that's so fucked up to anybody to do, period. Like, to for any reason to like deface something that somebody put in the temple, unless it was like crazy fucked up, is like so heartbreaking to me. Like, I gotta say, like, I went to the temple early, so this might have been one of the differences, but when I went early, like, I saw people from both sides writing stuff about people they lost next to each other with no defacement, and I was like, that is good. That is like a good thing. Like,
that was still very much present.
Yeah, it isn't that there wasn't any of that kind of collaboration. There was just more conflict than there has been in the past.
And the Temple Guardians did a fantastic job.
Yeah, the Temple Guardians are incredible.
That. And, you know, there was that memorial event at the recreation of the...
at the Nova. We Will Dance Again.
And that was completely quiet. There was not disruption to that. People were very respectful. I
also, like, in this conversation, I think it is unfair not to mention that there's a much larger percentage of Israelis and Zionists at Burning Man than there are Palestinians. There are Palestinian supporters. There's a lot of people who are strongly on that side, but because of the massive wealth disparity and massive, like, ability to travel disparity, we're not actually talking about the same numbers of Palestinians and
for sure
and Israelis there.
For sure.
And so it is also often people who are Israelis confronting people who are protesting the concept but haven't been there and don't know, but see what we see from a distance.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything like that. I can assure you, like, if I saw somebody... Let's put it this way, like, whatever side you're on, like, if you go over a line that you're not allowing somebody their humanity, I don't care what side you're from, like,
How does that fit with an ethno-state?
I mean, you're right about that. I mean, prior to Nova, it was the largest regional, right? Like, Midburn in Israel was the largest regional. I don't know what it'll be now. Like, they haven't really done it for a bit. So Israelis show up pretty strong at Burning Man. I hear what you're saying. A lot of them come. Have you listened to the Life is a Festival podcast with there's like two founders of Burning Man, one's Palestinian, one's Israeli?
I have not.
It's worth listening to. I'll
right.
leave it at that. So is it okay to give them a little bit of a shout out?
Absolutely.
Oh, sure.
I'm not commodifying.
No.
Promoting other podcasts isn't commodifying.
We share the love of the medium.
Yeah.
And just so everybody knows, like, I don't want to commodify somebody else, because we are right now sitting in like a San Francisco, like, the 30 floor skyscraper. It's super nice here. So I don't want to like cut into all their podcast income.
Come on, you're gonna give away the secret of the studio.
All right, where do we go
Studio
next?
one.
I know we had, to be honest, like coming down here, I was hoping to avoid that little.
I mean, honestly, I'm pretty impressed that you would be comfortable saying that. But I'm glad. I'm glad that you felt comfortable saying that, and I'm sorry. I mean, saying that.
Oh, don't say sorry.
No, I am glad that you feel comfortable saying that you are a Zionist, and I am glad that you are still willing to come talk to us, even though you know our beliefs, or mine at least. I won't speak for Rex or Dita.
Well, I'm an actual libertarian.
Okay.
The original
don't
libertarian.
say that. I want to
Explain.
still be attracted to you at the end of
A
this.
left libertarian, as I have to
Anarchist.
explain it now.
I'll be right back.
We used to just be able to say libertarian, Beth.
Yo, I once
Fucking Rothbard.
got kicked out of a bar in Healdsburg for saying the word libertarian. The bartender was just like, "Did you say get the fuck out of my bar?" I was like, "What?"
I used to, in my youth, engage in a lot of discourse with libertarians online because I'm really interested in the tension points in our different intellectual viewpoints. But as I got older, the self-identified libertarian community became increasingly fascist. And so I
Are you saying this that's something,
move away from that.
or are you talking about like maybe like when the Tea Party movement happened or the Trump thing, or just like a gradual thing in general?
It was definitely a frog boiling in water situation. Like there has always been in the libertarian community an unfortunate tendency to overlook white nationalists and Christian nationalists and just people with very extreme right wing positions that you can totally justify by the non-aggression principle. You say, "Well, I can't tell you how to feel about colored folk," and that Karl Popper's paradox of tolerance pops up. You cannot tolerate any degree of intolerance because it spreads.
So let's take it back to Burning Man for a second. Like I do feel like Burning Man had this pretty wild libertarian past that I've seen really supplanted by more like really progressive Bay Area type folks. How do you feel about that in general?
So that's kind of why I wanted to steer this way, because my first impression of Burning Man was of kind of an explicitly anarchist event. And I would see descriptions of it in conversation with and in reference to the works of Hakeem Bey.
Oh, wait. Give me a second. Prince Discordia.
No, that's a different intellectual influence. Hakeem Bey wrote the Temporary Autonomous Zone.
Okay, got it. Wait, he didn't write Principia Discordia?
No, that's Malaclypse the Younger.
You're right. My bad. Oh, dude, you're hardcore. That was,
I got a 5-fingered hand of Eris right there.
all right. But a bunch of your listeners are Googling this shit right now.
I hope so. So, the way it described itself as an experiment in temporary community was often described also as a periodic autonomous zone, temporary but recurring. And again, there is like such a immense overlap between anarchism and American libertarianism, right libertarianism. And so within that structure, both viewpoints fit beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, you also touch on something else, like this temporary autonomous zone that in some ways describes Burning Man, though of course less over the years. Like the temporary thing to me is the thing that is really key to it, right? Mm-hmm. So like I very much so try to live my life informed by the 10 principles, not because I'm like, I need to be like the most burnery, but because I'm like, these are pretty good. Like this is a decent framework through which to figure out how to live. But like the interpretation of them on Playa, off Playa is very different. So like I'll give you an example from my life. I remember signing in to volunteer as treasurer of a school. But before I was treasurer, I was on the finance committee, and I signed in, and I had forgotten to change my Zoom name from the past Zoom meeting. So I signed in as the Assless Chaplain. And the treasurer at the time, the head of the finance committee, was like, "What is this?" And I had to explain what I do. And she, luckily I'm in Northern California now, not Indiana anymore. And she was like, oh, you're a jack of all trades. Like the next year she was like, you should be the next treasurer, right? But like that was skirting the line. Like obviously we can't show up for any of us who have, a job, maybe even a Burning Man job, but certainly if it's not a Burning Man job, most of us can't show up in what we wear on Playa, right? Like we can't live that radical self-expression. We can live self-expression, but not radical self-expression, right? And we also take it to inclusion. Like at Burning Man, you can go with radical inclusion, but like if you're walking around Oakland, you got to be a little more careful than that necessarily on who you're including in your experiences and what you're doing. But I really look at Burning Man as this temporary workshop for what we're doing in the rest of our lives. So you have this kind of crucible where you get to go for it exactly how you'd want to, and then you need to figure out, like, what are you taking from that to everything else in your life?
A space to go and experiment with yourself, with community, with relations, with labor.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the labor thing is great because I think a good number of people learn like a skill or do something at Burning Man that they're like, I really can take this to the default world and I am going to do this.
It's helped me think about my political philosophy. You know, one of the questions that anarchists have to deal with is how do you build roads and how are we going to manage a modern society if you don't have hierarchical government making everything go and a carceral militarized police force to protect private property. And the answer is that volunteerism it's so natural. Intrinsic reward is so stupidly effective.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things that makes, I think, and do you know who Grover Norquist is? He was like an old school right-wing dude, right? Like
I have earned my living for a couple of years working explicitly to counter Grover Norquist.
Well, he went to Burning Man once and he wrote an article and he said some things that probably pretty identical to what I'm about to say, which surprised me. It was cool that he said it, which is I think there's certain things about Burning Man that are like the most American things. Like if you look at
absolutely
like average hours of volunteering that Americans do and giving to, philanthropic causes, like Americans, like even per capita, we're a very rich country. I'm talking like how much they give of what they have in terms of time and money, but like toast everybody, right? And we tend not to think about that. And when I think about that, I'm like, well, of course that goes hand in hand with like our original start as like, power with the people, like, ground up. I would love for one of Burning Man's influences, like whatever the political stripes, this would be a good thing, like to encourage our society to be more like Burning Man in that way. You want it done? Fucking do it, And then, when you and I were talking about people, bitching on Facebook about Borg, like that's the thing. You don't like it? Go volunteer with Borg. Get a job with Borg. Or whatever. Like there's also one of the greatest principles I learned at Burning Man that I apply to my own life is your burn is your burn. Mm-hmm. Right? Like whatever is different with Burning Man now, however shitty your like plug and play neighbor camp might be, in the end you're in charge of your own burn. And being like, for me, it's been one of the most stabilizing things in my life to take that attitude toward life. Like there's stuff that goes on outside of your control that is scary, but it's outside of your control. Look at what's in your control and like live a good life through that. That doesn't mean don't try and influence other things, but if you want, but you're not influencing it by just bitching, whether it's Borg or the president or whatever, like you influence it by fucking doing. Mm-hmm. Anyway, sorry, dude. I feel like this interview went off the rails, and it's just like going from soapbox to soapbox.
I don't know. We're here to talk about Burning Man. We've been talking about Burning Man. It's a moment of politics. Politics and Burning Man go hand in hand. I find the proposition that Burning Man is apolitical to be very strange. I think Burning Man is nonpartisan. That it exists outside of the context of the American political discussion by and large. But anything that describes itself as radical in several specific instances can't possibly not be political.
Well, that's a good point. Let me throw it out a different way then. Like in a certain sense, like Burning Man does a lot of things like the rest of the world, but different, right? Mm-hmm. We build community, but it looks very different. We do weddings, but they look very different. So yeah, Burning Man does politics, but it doesn't just fit into the default world sense of how politics are, right? I do think it tends to be a little bigger picture, like let's draw out a bit and think in general about the world instead of these little fights that we tend to get in the default world that just are like obstructions,
Our politics in the default world are always explicitly about the creation of ever-increasing legal structures.
Legal structure. I would also say power structures, right? Like in the end, that's one thing you don't see at Burning Man is it isn't like two political parties like fighting for who's going to have the most power over the other without always a really strong and coherent moral backbone.
The political claim of Burning Man is that nothing happens if we don't do it. We need communal effort and civic engagement and participation. And if we're not doing it, nothing happens.
All right, so I'm going to hijack your interview for a little second because I got to tell you, whenever I listen to y'all, I always wonder, like, I thought maybe you two were married or something. I've never been able to figure out who the fuck you people are, like how you relate to each other. Like, give me the lay of the land of and no offense to Burner Podcast or the like official Burning Man podcast, which often bores me. Give me the lay of the land, and I love that Burning Man's doing it. It's a good essential thing. But give me the lay of the land of who the fuck you people are at Accuracy Third, because I think a lot of listeners like me want to understand this.
We're friends, and Rex, when I've been fucking for 9 years, we all volunteered on the same Burning Man crew. The year we fell in love, we're both poly, we have other partners. The year we fell in love, we also, all three of us decided to make a podcast. And
do all three of you fuck?
No, despite what D-Day's ex-wife thinks.
Oh, she was so convinced.
I mean, honestly, I didn't think it till I walked in here. I was like, oh, Rex and D-Day are together. They live together.
They are together. We are a triad of sorts. It's just a triad where not everyone is romantically and sexually attached.
We are platonic cohabitating creative partners.
Yeah,
all right. All right.
And I just come and visit. and I bought the Shetio. I'm really their sponsor.
And D-Day has the mortgage.
D-Day has the mortgage, and Rex has the Burning Man job. We all balance each other out.
Okay. It's a triumvirate of success.
We all try a little bit, and together we try almost hard.
Yeah, 3 people is really what you need to make a podcast. Any friends out there that are thinking of doing it, 2 is not enough because you always, like, it's so easy to be defeated as 2. But in 3, there's usually someone who has the energy to keep going. And that's how this ball has rolled forward, even as we all went through horrific depressions, awful COVIDs, and, you know.
But whatever you do, don't try and start a second podcast with the same 3 hosts. It doesn't work.
Did you do this?
We did.
Yeah.
That, I won't lie, just on the face of it, unless y'all are like really into football and decided to be a football podcast, sounds a little bit of a...
It was on a book we all
idea.
loved. It was like a literary, so we're
what
all...
was the book?
It's called the
Name of the Wind.
Name of the Wind is the series.
No, the Name of the Wind is the first book.
Okay, yeah.
A King Killer Chronicle is the series.
Yeah.
We sort of fucked ourselves up by the format choice. We made the recording sessions too long and the work too tedious and got bored. And also the author has refused to publish the 3rd book in the series. So
And D-Day, like... We recorded a whole session and lost it, and then we like never recovered from that.
So let me just tell like the listening audience something. Like whenever, first of all, you guys, like your production is pretty fucking good, and you guys do good podcasts. Like I genuinely thought I'd be like going to an office or something. I mean, listen, I'm kind of a country bumpkin. Like I'm a person who
wine country bumping,
but I grow much of my own food. Like I'm a person who like has poor like propensity for learning physical skills, but you know, last year rebuilt the fuel system on an old tractor.
Nice.
I'm gonna give credit to Burning Man again. Like this was the radical self-reliance thing that got put into me. And so like I don't know about podcasts, but like I was like, oh, they got a podcast people listen to. I listen to a bunch of these episodes all the time. I bet these people, they probably just work part-time jobs or something, you know? Like, I imagine y'all pick up some Uber shifts and, like, the rest you're just, like, counting the Accuracy Third money. And remember, I'm a financial guy, so I feel particularly stupid admitting this.
Our Patreon's generosity is manifolded. It is helping repay Beth for the studio slowly but surely. It covers our hosting costs and some of the power bill. And it pays for the boost for the listener party.
And I just want to say that to those of you listeners who are libertarian-ish like me or like Ron Swanson types, you can mail them silver bullion. they will accept it as a way to support the podcast.
But we won't bury it in this backyard. We're going to put that somewhere else.
We'll pack it into the walls of the shedio. How insulating is silver?
I wish I knew some smart thing to say about that, but I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, no, we're together and have been for years. We just are also poly and open and fuck other people.
All right, so what kind of wedding are we going to do for the two of you?
I refuse. I'm sorry. You were like, I might be able to support other people's weddings, but if I'm going to throw a big party and make it all about a relationship, it isn't going to be a wedding.
No, we might tag team a wedding.
Tag team wedding?
Explain and draw pictures for me on the wall.
Rather than marry each other, we'll collaborate to marry another couple. I'll officiate and Beth can plan.
And let me just say, I actually want to throw this out there. We are very, very comfortable. We've done this before. If you want to do a wedding and you have an officiant and you just want a place, we're very happy to accommodate. Like we've this past year, we had a bit of a little COVID issue in our camp. And so we had to scale back. But I was like, but the chapel's still there. And there have definitely been times where like some people show up and I'm just like, I'm hungover as fuck, guys.
You guys
like,
marry yourselves.
Yeah, like, do you have like a friend who's good with words? Like, there you go. Like, here's a bottle of sparkling. Actually, the Mudpocalypse, it was one of my favorite weddings. Like, it was toward the it was like the day before Man Burn. You know, we had already started breaking because we thought it was going to be, we shouldn't have started breaking, but even though I'm the camp lead, I tend to listen to my people, and a lot of people were like, we should start breaking, whatever. And like in the mud, like these folks trudged over from like 9:30 in G or some shit, these two cuties. And they're just like, will you marry us? And I'm like, I will sit here on a cooler and I will coach you guys through marrying yourselves. And I will open a bottle of sparkling wine. And it was actually one of my favorites because it was this thing. It was like, yo, we all been through this. We're all ailing. You guys want to do this like important thing with each other? Like, let's do it. But just like respect my humanity now that I'm like, oh, I'm not exactly on top of my game. And it was beautiful and they were happy. And I just assumed they made beautiful love to each other afterwards, you know?
Beautiful, chilly, slippery love.
Yeah, yes.
God. Just which devices were they using to go through the mud? Did they have the plastic bags or were they bare feet? How were these people fucking afterwards?
They had plastic bags.
All right. That works. You can take those off. The number of dirty hippies just walking. You can't fuck with that much mud between your toes. I'm sorry. I don't care what your kink is. That's weird.
You just got to exercise a little passion and patience, you know, for the mud to dry so you can just flake it off.
I'm not going to do it because I don't have the time, but I so want to start a camp next to wherever the fuck you camp. That's like mud between toes sex camp.
You can come start that in our camp. You're allowed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's actually funny because I was tempted to start a camp right across the street from you that's Playa reverse weddings.
Divorces, I believe those are called.
No. It's about a beautiful ritual to end your wedding, your marriage.
All right, I like the distinction. Fucking go for it. I got to tell you, you know what? I'm gonna call a camp out. I'm gonna be a dick right now.
Oh,
there was a year that we had a camp across from us called the Institute, and the Institute looked a little bit like a plug and play. I can't say they really were, but they did us the favor of lining up their porta potties and big ass generators for their super rich people camp right on the frontage across the street from us.
On the frontage?
On the frontage. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Now, this was Mudpocalypse year. And they had their own porta potties that were lined up across from us. And like at a certain point, to be honest, like some of the ladies in the camp like really needed to go. And it's, you know, it's not like just standing up to pee. And I had kind of talked about this before, and my amazing campmate Stupid was like, yo, dude, you said you have bolt cutters. And I was like, yeah, fuck, no more locks on those fucking porta potties. They're for everyone. So the Institute.
Now there's the libertarian
eat
will.
a dick. Eat a dick. You guys suck. Fucking do better from here on out. I'm the one who cut your fucking locks.
There it is.
Come find me. Do something about it. And I totally also snitched to like Borg, although I saw the Institute placed again. So, clear, I might have been the only one. And that's fine. I don't want Borg to just like go hard on people, like I want a place like that to just do better. Like, because if they just didn't line their fucking giant generators and porta potties facing us, who am I to bitch about them? Do your burn, right? Like, do your burn. Your burn might be different than mine. I'm not here to tell you how it is. Like, it's all good, but like,
but don't hide your portos or expect them to be broken into. Like, that's ridiculous. Put your portos in the middle of your camp.
Well, and here's the thing that struck me. Like, when we were cutting the locks, people saw from the camp. And nobody said anything. Now, why you think that is? Because those people are people who paid to have their camp, not people who take care of their own camp. If I happen to have a porta and you show up and cut the lock off it, you can bet your ass, like, you and I are going to have a talk.
But this is also like days into, all of them are like, am I going to lose my job? Like, I can't get off Playa. Like, this is the night before the man burned. The man burned on like Monday, didn't it? In the mud apocalypse, or was it Sunday? Yeah.
No, it was like Monday. It was
people
Monday.
were fucking stuck. I think everyone was just defeated in the pitch perfect way where everything was funny.
Yeah, that's true.
And
you're right. They might be people who like are just
it
kind of
doesn't
a little
fucking
bit
matter.
douchey who do their own camp, and they're just like, I don't fucking know. Like, am I gonna get in? Like, you ain't ever seen me dressed at Burning Man. I'm not exactly dressed like some sort of masculine dude, but like, let me just say, like, a dude who dresses the way I dress, like, it could be a thought in the back of your head of like, I really don't know what this motherfucker's gonna do. Like, so
They also might have been the Sherpas for that camp if it was a plug and play.
Right, where they're just like, fuck it.
It did look to me like they have Sherpas. Now, I want to be really careful because I really don't know the camp, and I just called them out. And maybe I'm very wrong about the Sherpas, but I'm not wrong.
Accuracy third.
But I am not wrong about the fact that they were very unneighborly by lining up portas and generators on the frontage. Like, what the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah, that's a bad scene.
Yeah, bolt cutters are a very important part of your Burning Man kit.
Hide your shit.
Hide your shit.
Hide your shit.
It's shameful. You hide it.
Yo, I've never. I know you probably hate the word chivalry, but I'll say this. I never felt as chivalrous as like when we were like, yo, we're going to do some wrong shit and like you ladies get a place to pee that is pristine. We got bolt cutters. We're doing the Assless Chaplain and Stupid are like the greatest knights of the 15th century.
Did you lay your Burning Man coats on the muddy road between your camp and theirs?
I did not have, at the time I had no Burning Man coats. I literally, like, for me, like, getting warm at Burning Man was putting the chaps on. Let me put it that way. I recently got a Burning Man coat. My camp, they were sweet, and they bought me a nice Burning Man coat.
Like, you looked so cold.
But, like, yeah, like, till then, I was like, well, I guess I'll put those, I don't know what they're called, those lace things that are like socks you put on your hands, but without the part that covers
arm
your
warmers?
hands. Yeah, no, like, not even. Like,
Fingerless lace gloves.
Yeah, like like a Victorian woman trying to be sexy to her man. Like, I was like, this is what, when
Arm
it gets
garters.
cold, I put this on. It's, like, it covers 0.5% of my body now. And
It's like putting on a thong for warmth.
You had really
Yes,
gone
yes.
too long. You forgot all those lessons from the
No,
mid-2000s.
it's not that. It's that we haven't had, like, since 2022, none of the years have been that cold. I walk around barefoot on the Playa too, and my feet just fall off when I get home. But like, I love being out at like 3 a.m. on the Playa. It's like 45 degrees. I'm pretty close to completely naked, and like my feet are just like burning in alkaline dust. Like, something about that, I'm like, oh, I am home. Like it always.
If I didn't wear shoes, I'd be mooping all the time by just bleeding onto the
everywhere.
Playa. Like, it's not.
As you get older, it gets rough. This year was rough for me.
Yeah.
It was.
Get some Crocs, you'll be fine. They still really breathe, and they just keep your feet out of the direct dust.
I mean, if anything, I'm getting like knee highs and just like putting vinegar in them. But like, to be honest, I probably almost for sure, like,
I'll call that plan B.
My camp will like show up and be like, hey, here's 2 crackers, eat them. Like, the level to which I do not take care of myself. It's not that I take pride in it, but yeah, and I run a camp. It's true. Like, so this year we were blessed to do a hubs with a French camp called My Crepe. They make crepes, right? They make crepes. You can guess that.
Good friends.
And like, yeah, they were just like, I don't understand how your camp isn't like on fire. Like, you're the dude in charge, and everything you do seems like completely irresponsible. And I'm like, here's my thing. I plan ahead.
You're one of
time.
those savants.
I don't know if I'm a savant, but like, I'm just like, yo, I'm going to get everything ready ahead of time. Like, your lady, you didn't plan for your period coming early. I got that. Like, whatever. I'm like the Boy Scout of Burning Man. If that Boy Scout immediately upon getting on the playa was like, I'm going to have a lobotomy.
So you prepare and then you drop any situational awareness and self-care.
He sticks to the Boy Scout motto, but not the Boy Scout oath.
yeah, I don't know the difference, but
Be
sure.
prepared is the motto. The oath is something about taking care of people.
Yeah, on my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country to keep myself at all times physically fit, mentally awake, and morally
Are you an Eagle Scout?
No, I dropped out in Weebelows. I just can't ever forget things.
I mean, I'm the dude, like, I put myself into it, but I'm the dude, like, during build, like, my campmates, you know, we'll just say for various reasons, maybe I wasn't thinking straight, and then my campmates, like, I see they're laughing at me, and I'm like, what's going on? They're like, dude, the past hour, you've been building camp in the middle of sea. You know, like, the road. And I'm like, and you motherfuckers just decide to have beers and watch me, and they're like, this is maybe the greatest thing we'll see at Burning Man.
You have a good camp.
Looking like, yeah, like, and I'm like, but now I have to undo it and redo it. It sets us all back. And they're like, yeah, but it was worth it, man. Yeah. You know, like, we could have told you 5 minutes in, but this was tons of fun.
You know, it always goes faster the second time.
I actually, right then and there, was like, all right, I'm going to sit down for a while. Here's the hammer. I'm clearly like of negative productivity. But hey, aren't you glad I brought this camp together?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for this, but I forgot a piece of it. It's and obey the scout law.
Oh, God. You've been just thinking that the entire time.
I hate my memory.
So have you had, and you can anonymize this, like, have you had bad camp experiences, like shared campmates? Maybe not in the camp that you were leading, but yeah.
Yes. No, for sure. And I think it's a thing like camp leads need to talk about and think about more. So
yeah, it's hard how you deal with people who are not doing well in your camp.
I mean, one of my things I found, like, again, this is the douchey part of me, but I felt like we need to some extent, just like Borg has, you got to formalize how you deal with these situations so that
it's transparent, it's straightforward, it's not playing favorites. It's literally like you agreed to these things.
So you can fuck up in a lot of ways in our camp, and we're going to go with radical inclusion and just try to do like acculturation and education. Mm-hmm. There are, of course, some things you cannot do. I've actually kind of created a hierarchy of there's like things that if you do them, I'm just as a camp leader going to be like, we're done. You're not coming
absolutely
back. And then things that I'm like, I'm going to talk to the people in the camp who are like veteran and contribute a lot. And then there's stuff that's, you know, maybe a little bit outside of that I would talk to people outside of that. But the main goal is usually just figure out how to keep people getting better, right? But there have definitely been situations where, like, if I say, like, you cannot pour your gray water into the potty and you do that, like, I'm done with you, you know? If I say, like, we have a rule that if, for instance, you're sharing a tent with somebody who gets COVID and you won't let me set up a tent for you because I keep a extra tent just for that. Like, again, I'm like a camp dad who like thinks these things through, and you refuse to be in it. I'm like, well, honestly, like for me, that's not necessarily the biggest deal, but I know for some people in our camp, they really do worry about the contagion of things like COVID, and you just can't do that. Like, we're done. Like, you clearly like didn't listen to what everyone else in your camp would keep them safe.
What do you do when you're done on Playa? Is it just like, okay, so we're not going to invite you back next year? Or what do you do if that issue is persistent enough that it's causing...
Well, there's only so much you can do. You can't control another human.
Right. You can tell them what to do, but they can ignore you. Yeah.
Well, basically, we go Amish.
You shun them.
We shun them. We don't let them into our Burning Man church. I don't know. Like, I don't know what I do. We figure it out in the moment. Like, I talk to other people and come up with it. Like, I'm really big on, there are of certain things that it's just like I have to be the camp dad, but for the most part,
the camp dad that needs 2 crackers and to sit down for a while.
Dude, I remember showing up at a wedding and being like, "Hey, I haven't eaten for a while. Do you guys have food?" And they're like, "We got hot dogs, we got ribs," and I'm like, No, I just need like 2 crack. Like literally, like give me 2 crackers, I'm good to go. Like I just like, oh, we got that cracker energy. Let's do a fucking wedding, you know? Like I need 2 crackers and a tall glass of wild turkey. There's a reason they don't call it well-behaved turkey, you know? Like, this wedding's gonna be fun.
I just need something to soak up the stomach acid so it's not touching the sidewalls anymore.
That's why I get all my wild turkey in a velvet bottle. It helps to soak it up. So I hear what you're getting at. I mean, like, I think on Playa you run into so many situations that you're like, I don't know, this part of being on Playa is gonna suck, but like again, my burn is my burn. Like I'm gonna have a great burn. It doesn't kill my burn. Okay, there's somebody in our camp who's going through something or just being a dick or whatever. Like, all right, I'll be in camp a little bit less, or I'll just tell myself, like, whatever. Or I'll be a dick to the person back and feel good about myself for it. You know, like,
there is that is a really nice spot where you're like, you're not, I know in my head you're not coming back next year. And you've already have been talked to several times. So now I no longer have to be nice.
You're like, I got your leave no trace. Just bring your tent with you. I got the rest. It's all good. I don't know. I actually hate not having people come back to camp, and it's not because I have a problem with confrontation. I'm okay with confrontation, as you can tell. Like, I'm totally okay with it. I think it's a good thing. Like,
I'm a camp lead, and I fucking hate confrontation. I like hate it. I'll do it because it's taking care of my community, and it's something I can do. But ideally someone else is doing that part.
You know, I hear you. It's not like it's a thing I look forward to. I do not like it, but I am okay with it because it's the way you resolve things. So I'm very regularly with like things between campmates where somebody clearly is the
issue. It's
up.
not
I'm like, don't worry, I got it. I'm here to, that's my job. Like,
there's a guy dropping a chicken in the Porto. Like,
yeah. And like this is the thing, like, everybody in my camp is contributing to something that means so much to me. I told you guys a story.
Yeah, that's
like,
so nice to have it be that small that you know that so directly.
And so, like, we have other people in the camp who contribute so much, but I'm probably the person who puts in the most money, certainly the person who puts in the most hours. And whenever there's a really fucked up situation, I'm the person who deals with it. Again, camp dad. And of course, because everybody who showed up is somebody who bought into my vision of something that meant a big thing to me. We all see what it means for people on the Playa, because it does. And like, I'm going to be forever appreciative of it because I will do it no matter what. Most of the folks in my camp don't need to. They could just be like, fuck, tickets are easy to get now. I'll do open camping, right? So like, who am I to tell them they need to, so that being said, sometimes you have people in your camp where you're just like, I don't know if Burning Man is for you. If you think that, like, you do it your way, and wish you the best. Like, have a great time with it, but like, you're not. I don't want to say Assless Chapel Material because, like, the bar on that is so low. We're just so
it's not low, it's sideways.
Let me just say, I was talking to somebody recently who's like, I went to this big summit and you would love these people. They're a bunch of Burning Man people who like run tech companies and all this. I'm like, oh, I don't think you understand my camp. My camp is like people go to Burning Man and live in a van. Like, that's great that they do that, but that's not like the folks at Burning Man that I'm necessarily hanging out with a bit. Like,
yeah, radical inclusion ends at the gate. Everybody,
dude, I'm gonna show you guys my Burning Man tattoo at some point. But like, if I wasn't so hairy on my lower back, I want that as a tramp stamp. Radical inclusion. Also, think about the double entendre there. If it's right there, radical inclusion ends at the gate.
Like, everybody's invited to the party. Not everybody's invited into my camp.
Yeah. And not everybody's, like, the party isn't for everyone.
Yeah, not everybody should RSVP.
Yeah.
So this is a thing that, like, again, I think in some ways is good, but I kind of miss of, like, the Burning Man I remember from back in the day.
The more aggressive, scary, confrontational, grossly sexual.
Not aggressive. I'll say this. I just remember the first bar I went to at Burning Man. When I first got to Burning Man, I was like a person who had no idea what Burning Man was. I got to, and I'm basically a kid from Indiana who went to school like in Baltimore for a bit. And like Baltimore, contrary to what I thought before I went to like college, isn't like some fancy city full of intellectuals, you know, like I love Baltimore, but Baltimore is like a good place to get shot, you know, like it's not. So at least at the time, I haven't been back for a long time. I don't know how Baltimore is now, but like the first bar I went to, I just remember seeing all these folks, and it was way different than anything I'd ever seen. I was like, is this a gay bar? And they're like, every bar in Burning Man is a gay bar. And I was like, can I get a drink? And they're like, what are you going to do for us? And I was like, I can speak Hindi. Tell me your name in Hindi and I'll tell you Hindi. And this was a true thing. And I told her, and she was like, I don't really know if that is true or not. So here's what's going to happen. Like, bend over. I'm getting a paddle and you can get yourself a drink. And I think that might have been the moment I fell in love with Burning Man. But like, here's the thing. This was back before like gifting was defined as like, you're always just supposed to gift. Like, I kind of liked when it had just a little bit of barter where it was like, what are you going to do to deserve the gift? You know?
I feel like there's tons of bars that still function that way. Me falling in love with Burning Man my first year was also associated with Spanky's, the wine bar with the wine sacks that you like. We like came in a big group and they're like, we don't serve until someone's on that pole.
Can I share with you the first people I ever met at Burning Man?
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, this is Outer Rim. Danny and I are just struggling to even like get a tarp attached to a car because it's a dust storm and we don't realize this isn't just how the weather always is. And somehow out of like the dust, like a motorized couch shows up. With like two people. I'm sure they were only like 70, but I was 22. They were like 300 years old. Just naked. Not just naked, but like don't even have clothes nearby to put on. They don't have a backpack. They have like a bottle of water and they just show up and they're like, hey guys, you just show up? And we're like, yeah, can you like give us an explanation, something like just set your camp up by. And I just go back out into the dust and I'm just like, dude, this place is definitely different. Definitely, like, Toto, we're not in Indiana anymore, you know? Like, this is... I mean, maybe that was the moment. I think it was more the bar, but, like, that... Because that moment I was, like, under a decent bit of stress, being like, how are we going to live here for, like, a week? Like, how are we going to survive this? But moment...
I love the series of getting there. Like, I just remember so vividly the first couple of years when I would arrive. And arriving actually, like, now I feel like I get there before I'm even there because I'm, like, out doing other stuff, working with my team, all that stuff beforehand. But, like, you would get on Playa, and then at some point you'd actually arrive at Burning Man. And the first couple of years, it's slow. It's like a series of moments of absurdity or like genuine kindness of all these things that like allow you to finally get there. And like for the first couple of years, I wouldn't like arrive until like Tuesday or Wednesday. Like that's when I'd be like, oh, I'm here now.
Doesn't that seem so short now? Like,
yeah.
Think about it. Like you used to arrive like on Monday and be like, I want to see just Black Rock City get built.
Yeah.
You know, now you like show up on Monday and you're like, I missed everything.
Or you show up on Wednesday a week and a half before. Like that's part of the neat thing about doing the kind of volunteer work that we do is you get out there so early, you like arrive, but you're arriving at a work site. You're arriving with your community. There's like, you're there because you're immediately doing it and there's not a whole bunch else to do. And it's,
But surprisingly, we don't get to see the city get built so much either because we're like at the work site and at the commissary and then at the work site and at the commissary and the work site and then the commissary and then we go out into the city and it's there.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember it used to be like Monday and you're like, I'm going to go walk to see the man and like you'd see somebody and you're like, yo, you need a hand? And like all of a sudden you're like helping an art project. Mm-hmm. That was kind of cool. But I will say this. If I'm going to go through all the effort of making Burning Man happen in my life, I would rather know I got a whole week of Burn Week than make part of Burn Week like my build week.
You should volunteer. You would really like it. It's more of it. And then, you're just really there for a long time and in the mode with the volunteers are also like the fucking grit that holds it all together. Like the volunteers are, you talk about missing some of like the pranks or the rudeness or that kind of like all of the volunteers that are out there earlier are the folks that like adore it and hate it who like they're all incredibly generous, hardworking, and are annoyed at everything.
Wait, does DPW still do the thing where they're just assholes to everyone? They're like, we're gonna have a parade and just get shit faced and yell at everyone.
The parade still happens.
The parade is technically a
they still
barbecue
mean?
now.
Are they barbecuing like yahoos, or
No,
are they
no.
just
The parade is kind of the only time you get to see DPW be crusty at the participants.
Or the 420 Spire, but that's earlier. It's before the event starts. But I feel like the 420 Spire, like, kind of DPWs out a bit.
That's true.
And the amount of people who are there on the Thursday before gates open is now like 20,000 people. So
wait, I want to. How much time do we have?
half an hour.
So let me give a shout out to camp that I really want to get a shout out because I'd love it to influence Burning Man culture more. Threat Camp. This year
Camp
I got
Threat.
to get close to Camp Threat or Threat Camp or whatever. For those of you who don't know, was it you guys that did a good piece on somebody?
I love that they put them right next to the ghetto. I didn't go in this year because I don't like confrontation.
So like I fucking love them. And here's the thing. If you are going to Burning Man, it is worth going to Threat Camp to get a little bit of a very extreme version of things that were more common at Burning Man back in the day. It's a little bit of like it's like what are those, like the Confederate reenactors of Burning Man? They're like, back when Burning Man was really fucking mean, like, and then you'll show up and they'll just start yelling things about like, hey, nice thong, too bad you don't got much to put in it, like they're amazing. They'll like give you a drink and then just like drop ice down your ass crack or whatever. But like I had two amazing interactions with them that I loved. First, there was, I'll just call her Goldstein because that's the Playa name I gave her. But my Stupid, he showed up at like 7:30 in the morning. He's like, wake the fuck up. And I'm like, dude, go the fuck away. Are you kidding? At 7:30 at Burning Man. And he's like, hey man, I got a treat for you. And I'm like, unless it's my next wife, you need to go the fuck away. And he's like, her name is Hannah Goldstein. He's playing on the fact that I'm Jewish, right? Like he's like, so according to him, I like pop right out. And then we had a great time. Her and I got along really well, but like an hour in, she's just like, yo, I'm not, my name is not Goldstein. I'm not Jewish. This asshole was hitting on me all night. And like, when I told him I was never going to get with them, he was just like, why not? And she's like, cause I like him like short and hairy and stout. And Stupid was like, oh, I got one of those. Come with me. And then, like, right before we got to camp, he was like, oh, shit, I forgot to tell you, pretend you're Jewish. Incredible prank. But, like, later on, Stupid, we're hanging out at Burning My Crepe, and Stupid, he was, I won't say much, but let's just say he wanted human contact at the time, and he was like, the way I want to do it, I'm going to Camp Threat, I'm going to get in a fist fight. I was like, yo, I told your wife I'm bringing you back in one piece,
That is
man.
stupid.
Yeah. And I was like, you can't. And he's like, I'm going to. And I'm like, all right, come
Go
with
to
me to my
Thunderdome,
tent.
dude.
No, he wanted more than that.
Yeah.
And we're there hanging out with this beautiful little pole dancer from Burning My Crepe because they have a pole, like just adorable. And she's not at all innocent, but seems really innocent. You know what I mean? And like, I'm like, let's walk to my tent. And I go to my tent. I get him a mouthpiece, like a mouth guard, so he won't get his teeth knocked
out when he gets punched
Yeah.
back.
And she's just like, why the fuck do
My
you have
God,
a mouth
how
guard?
prepared are you?
I'm telling you. So she's like, why do you have a mouth guard? And I'm like, did you not just hear Stupid? This is why I have a mouth guard. Like, I have a campmate named Stupid. Of course I have a fucking mouth guard. Have you lost your motherfucking mind? Like, everybody needs to come back. His teeth are bad enough already. Like, shit. Now I hope he's not mad at me for that. Anyway, people tend to find him handsome. So he's like a foot taller than I. So he'll fucking deal with this. Yeah, and he told me, I think it was one of the greatest moments of his life. He goes to Camp Threat. He shows up. He asks for a shot. The person there is a person who had transitioned, who was born a man, transitioned to being a woman, but still had a lot of muscle on her. Mm-hmm. And just smacks him in the face. But, we're Camp Threat smack in the face. Like, you're not necessarily going to like it, but it ain't going to do damage.
Slap shots are a thing. Slap shots are a total thing.
And I don't know if you've been there when they're partying, but that is Sodom and Gomorrah. They're just like, here's a fucking bag of wine being squeezed by my thighs, like shots out of my parts of me that aren't even the parts you wanted to put your mouth on. Like they go hard. But I think it was like one of his favorite moments of his life, because after he gets smacked in the face, he just grabs the mouth guard, puts it in, comes up, and is just like, now do it for real, motherfucker. Dude, we drove him home. His fucking jaw was still swollen. Like,
Wow.
I mean, he was like, it was like the Braveheart of Burning Man, you know? Like, anyways, so I'm definitely getting Assless Chapel mouth guards for gifts for all my campmates from here on out.
Oh, that's great. You printed across the
Yeah, right across the teeth. I mean, think about it. You remember the ski camp and center camp, whatever that was called? Like, wouldn't it be good to have a mouth guard for that shit?
I mean, what you need is a knee guard.
or a couple of walking casts.
I would be so interested in what piece of art injured the most people this year. When do we get that info? Who do we?
I'm not sure they catalog that.
Who do we have to bribe at ESD? Because they do.
They do?
I mean, they absolutely do. Because if stuff is too dangerous, they'll
please
shut it
tell
down.
me. I'm sure they don't make it public. But please,
no,
please
but
tell
like
me.
they will shut down stuff. If it's injuring too many people.
I'm not aware.
First of all, no. Listen. Here's where I'm going to go with the libertarian. Like, guns don't kill people. People kill people. Art at Burning Man doesn't hurt people. People hurt themselves on art.
Agreed.
Right? Like, yeah.
You get to make all the choices for you and all of that, but sometimes part of the car is falling off of the spike.
Yeah, well,
Fair enough. Sometimes people don't do
didn't get shut down because people were hurting themselves. That got shut down because it was falling apart.
Yeah, okay. So,
but like, here's the thing: if you're gonna like show up at a random camp at like 3 and G, and they're like, we set up a playground for. And I'm thinking of a specific camp, by the way. We set up a playground for adults, and and the dudes are just drunk out of their heads. You might get some splinters when you go down that plywood slide, and that's kind of on you.
I love the janky playgrounds, friends and compadres. The only reason I didn't really deeply injure myself was because I was quite drunk when I did this. But it's like climbing up to a platform with like loose wood on top. So it's like, it's a painting platform. You know what you're doing is fucking dangerous. You have to wrap your arm around some loose fucking wood and pull yourself up there. And then there's a trampoline that is like, 4 feet down from the top of it. And I jumped on it, and it is not a trampoline. It was no give whatsoever. It just completely collapsed into it.
I was so shocked you stood up from that climb. Like, I have never seen a more break something.
It was only saved by how incredibly drunk I was when I did that.
And that's why it's good to have your friends around. Like, sometimes somebody needs to be like, hey, let's just hypothetically call this person that I'm talking about stupid. So you're like, hey, stupid, you've been away for 44 hours and it ain't on coffee. Maybe that ain't the thing to climb, dude. Like, maybe you gotta find something more safe to climb, my buddy. I don't know. Am I, sometimes he's like, yeah, but you played What Would You Do for a nice thing that somebody gave you that can't be mentioned on the air,
I mean, you haven't said anyone's legal names. You can talk about drugs.
Oh, well, luckily I've never done any drugs at all, ever.
Not legally speaking, myself either. A total teetotaler, except for the drunk.
Yo, you know who I have tons of respect for? There are Zendo people who actually don't. Not a lot of them, but there are Zendo people who actually don't fuck with the stuff. That's always amazing to me. People who are just like, I'm going to show up. I don't really care about drugs, but I care about people. Like, that shit is cool.
They have a really pretty canopy. I hadn't seen it in years. It's really gorgeous. It's gigantic and like multicolored, and really, it's like one of those suspension ones.
Zendo is such a great example of the duocracy side of things. Like, there is an official Burning Man volunteer process for dealing with people who are having psychiatric moments. But like, it's so much better that there's also this purpose-built, entirely voluntary, community-generated structure to do the same.
Well, I mean, I got to tell you, like, living in Northern California, even though I'm outside of a small town, like, sometimes I run into Zendo people and I'm like, that's like a badge of honor. Like, if I know you're doing that, I'm like, these people are not just your run-of-the-mill folks. These are people who really, like, put their money where their mouth is with, like, caring about the world and the people around them. And I know, I mean, it's never come to this, but, like, if I were, now that I think about it, if I were ever in, like, some situation where I was having, like, a psychological schism, like, you want to go to the emergency room? No, I'll call some person I know who does Zendo and be like, hey, I know you got kids. Like our kids are at school together. I know you're probably just trying to put them to bed, but like in an hour, can I come over? I mean, it's never happened to me, but like 100%, that would be a reasonable thing to be like, I'm so sorry, but like, I promise you I'll bring you gallons of olive oil and pounds of persimmons and all the stuff I grow. But like right now I'm having a psychological break, and there's a good chance some people will be there for you, even in the default world if they can. Like those are good folks doing good work.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone should have someone to call if they're like, reality has snapped. Help. I'd really like to just mention that all forms of political thought and ideas are welcome at Burning Man. And we will shout you down, hopefully, if you are wrong.
I want to actually disagree and just say if you're a Nazi and you want to come and like be a Nazi at Burning Man, don't. We don't want you.
I'm struggling to include libertarians right now. Like, I kind of wish we could just be like, never mind, you're not allowed. Or at least shut up.
I think there are a lot of people who have political orientations, but not political theories of change or ethoses. Etham. And that we can't just exclude people because they might not have thought about their political ethics as completely and thoroughly and over again the way that some of us do.
Mm-hmm. But we can't exclude Nazis.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't get to Nazi without thinking about Nazi.
Yeah, I am talking about, like, technically, like, ethically, I understand I can't throw libertarians out of my camp. Like, I have to hold space for them.
Not for being a libertarian, but they'll do something eventually. You can throw them out for their underage partners.
Yikes.
If I'm not mistaken, it was the dead Kennedys who said, Nazis fuck off. Nazis.
Nazi punks, fuck off.
Yeah, well, they said Nazi punks, fuck off. I say, Nazis, the fuck out of here. So, Beth.
Yeah.
You say you don't like conflict or being mean to people.
Yeah, no, it's a real struggle, and yet I do it.
But you also don't mind watching, right?
Depends.
When it's justified?
Will I watch someone punch a Nazi in the face?
I was just saying conflict, watching justifiable conflict.
Oh, God, yeah.
But we can punch Nazis in the face.
I watch reality television shows. I am up for watching conflict.
Beth is so prepared to hear Gordon Ramsay get in conflict with any chump that thought he could just buy a restaurant because he had the money.
Yeah, no, I'll watch that kind of conflict where I'm safe over here, and if I cry, no one can see me. Except you guys.
Well, I would like everyone to know that what I'm about to say is largely not based on things that you have heard Assless Chaplain say in this episode. Assless Chaplain, may I call you Ass Chap? Your name has a couple too many syllables for the rant I'm about to go on. Ass Chap is a very nice guy, and I appreciate him for coming on the podcast, and I appreciate how thoughtfully he and Beth discussed Zionism in the episode. But at a certain point, he asked that we not include 12 to 17-ish minutes of conversation, which wasn't really germane to Burning Man at all. So that will be available at some point on our Patreon podcast feed, which you can get to by giving us just $1 a month on patreon.com. So, Ass Chat, I think you're a good faith actor, but maybe, like many Jews I know and grew up with and have calling me problematic for my views on explicitly not supporting Israel, I think you may have taken some things as being read that are constructs, like how the Jews belong in Israel. I contend, from one Jew to another, as historically nomadic people, we belong exactly everywhere and nowhere. But we did not belong in Israel because people were already living there. And we took their lands and their homes, and we destroyed their way of life, and we are still stealing their land and killing them and their children. And I think that being a Zionist does mean that you don't care about Palestinian lives, even though you have some Palestinian friends. I believe that as a group, you do not care about Palestinian lives as much as you care about Israeli lives. Definitionally, Zionism devalues Palestinian life and rights in lieu of their Israeli colonizers. I don't see both sides to this. I don't see both sides to the Trail of Tears or the Holocaust or the Armenian genocide. Genocide is a genocide is a genocide, and we welcome genocide into our own country and communities when we turn a blind eye to genocide and even minor injustices that are close to genocide anywhere. I don't believe Israel has a right to exist, let alone defend itself. I don't believe any state has a right to exist. And I think that explicitly, ethno-states do not have a right to exist and should not exist because the concept of an ethno-state is abhorrent to my humanity and the concept of equality. Israeli settlers get to steal the homes of Palestinians and murder them in the streets with impunity the same way their government does. An ethno-state has to be a racist state that governs through bigotry because they are an ethno-state. Israel is an ethno-state. Zionism is the product of that ethno-state. Israeli Hasbra is the disinformation that they produce and have produced for like 70 some odd years to whitewash away the ethno-state that they have, where only the Jews in their ethno-state are citizens with voting rights. Ass chap, you seem like a nice, affable guy. I'd just think about the Palestinian children being maimed and mangled and blown up and starved to death a little bit more than caring about which plot of magic land a bunch of historical nomads like to think they owned as of right after the Allied powers put us there because they were so bigoted and racist they didn't want to take us in after World War II. I had family on boats for years after the Holocaust who were not allowed off those boats, being bounced from dock to dock and country to country until eventually, finally, France was like, yeah, fuck, sure. 2, bring them in. Israel is the product of racism, and maybe because of that, probably because of that, but definitely they are the producer of racism. That's how racism works. Racism begets racism begets racism. Zionism begets murdering the people Israel is starving when they arrive at food distribution sites. Maybe that's not your Zionism. Your Zionism is less violent and less confrontational and more conversational, but it still produces this Zionism. The same way that most people's white supremacy doesn't cause them to shoot up a synagogue during services. Most people's white supremacy is more passive and polite than that, but it's still white supremacy. It's easy to turn away from the ways that polite bigotries make excuses for the reasons that people pick up their guns. But bigotry is very good at disavowing the violence that polite bigotry produces. I cut out a bunch of great conversation between Beth and Ass Chap, including Assless Chaplain's assumption, which the patrons can eventually hear on the Patreon feed. It wasn't germane to our Burning Man project, and Assless Chaplain didn't want his episode about the Assless Chapel to be painted with a Zionist brush. But Ass Chap, my man, you seem like such a great, empathetic, thoughtful guy. But if Zionism was empathetic or humanist and not at this point explicitly Israeli supremacist, then why do you want to keep it to yourself, man? I'm an anarcho-communist. I am proud for every organization that I'm involved in to know that's what I am, why that's what I am, and to try to make the organization that I'm in reflect those values. I think controlling other people is wrong. Shit. I think hierarchies in general are wrong and dehumanizing, and I expect you do too, because you define yourself as a libertarian. I don't understand how you have squared that circle unless you may not have thought about the shape of your circle very closely. So as two Jews talking to each other across time and space, who both agree that my house and my art are rad, why does this hierarchy of Israelis over Palestinians feel kosher to you? Please, come find me at Burning Man, and I promise we can sit down and have a nice civil talk without anyone trying to win the conversation of who is ethically more correct than the other. And then I promise I'll punch stupid in the face, and we'll say goodnight. How's that sound?
I can't believe you used the word kosher in there. That's so problematic.
My language is my language, man. My words are my words.
That sounded great, honestly. I appreciate your time and effort to articulate that with kindness and respect, because it's hard. It's really hard to have conversations like this. And yeah. Other than pointing people to our Patreon for have the unedited Beth crying audio.
You're not crying in it, and you are very articulate, and I was incredibly impressed with how you refuted many of the things that I would have refuted in the room, including that I don't agree with him more than you.
Oh, anytime if I am saying D-Day agrees with me, I'm right.
Yeah, I'll back that up.
Yeah, I wouldn't lie about that shit.
And that was Assless Chaplain. And I've got to say, guys, I was almost falling out of my chair laughing when I heard Assless Chaplain's story about the Institute and their porta potties and how they're a plug-and-play camp that needed their porta potties liberated during the Great Mud of 2023. Would you guys like to know my history with the Institute?
I suppose so.
Whether we'd like or not, I reckon we're about to.
Well, we do need some content for the outro, so here's some of it. So he starts talking about the Institute, and the Institute invited me to camp with them years ago. Mm-hmm. Turns out it's a different institute, but that sent me down the Google rabbit hole of who is the Institute, which isn't the institute that's made up of members of False Prophet and the Phage. That was their camp a couple years, a decade or so ago. The Institute, is an educational symposium camp that was there in 2023.
Not the Mansonian Institute, which is a rad old school Burning Man camp.
Just the Institute. Mm-hmm. And the folks that didn't say boo at their porters being cut open were academics and scholars who were invited to speak at their camp and were not burners. They were just some nerds that were invited to come to a crazy place to talk about their science or engineering of choice. And yeah, they're not full burners. Who knows if they're there for more than just a day or two? They're not radically self-relying on themselves, and they're not radically self-stopping people from breaking into their shit in their camp.
Or their shitter. To shit.
So good job, Assless Chaplain, doing it right in that instance. So, on the subject of weddings, and after hearing so much about weddings, I have some thoughts about weddings. Being a reverend in the Progressive Universal Life Church, having conducted a handful of weddings, and having catered more weddings than that. If anyone wants to know what catering a wedding is like, I'm not going to tell you. It's not the best. You should just watch Party Down. It's a sitcom. It lasted 2 seasons, then it came back for a 3rd season during the pandemic, and all 3 seasons are great. Party Down, that's Party Down. Just go watch Party Down. Fuck weddings, on or off Burning Man. I love people's love, but I'm done with weddings. Unless you want me to perform your wedding at Burning Man, in which case, fine. I'll let some people stare at me for half an hour or so.
Yeah, I gotta really like you to go to your wedding. And you gotta not expect me to, spend a bunch of money on your wedding.
I assume my opinions about weddings are in this episode. I don't remember clearly, but I'm not, I am a very soft touch on explaining exactly my issue with weddings. So I assume it comes up.
Oh, it's real clear.
My wedding is fun.
Don't you worry. Rex had a fun
That sounds
wedding.
like me.
I had a fun wedding. Although my ex-wife told me the day of my wedding, she was pretty sure she didn't want to get married. And within 3 months of our wedding that she wanted to get divorced. And then we did. And here I am. Weddings. A personal message from me to Assless Chaplain's friend, Stupid. Stupid, my man, you want to get punched in the face again. You come on down to the Scumbag Cafe in Off-Center Camp, and I will accommodate you. It's been damn near 20 years since I've had to, but if you need something, I will give you something. And I'll follow that with a glass of something delicious when we're done. How's that? I'm not threatening him because apparently he likes to be punched in the face sometimes. I'd like to punch someone in the face at Burning Man.
You know, there's a spoon for every spoon. No, there's a lid for every pot. There's a you guys can be kinky.
There's a Putinesca for every poot.
I don't kink shame. There's a top for every bottom.
There's a pimple popper for a pimple pop E.
God, that shit is so disgusting.
I don't understand, but I do understand. I hate it.
I understand clearing my own boils, but I don't need to watch someone else clear theirs.
But you're not watching somebody else clear theirs. You're watching somebody else clear somebody else's.
Yeah,
There is a third-party carbuncle.
This is the social con.
Guys, it's tired and we're late and we have to finish packing for Burning Man.
And there is nothing funnier than carbuncle.
There's not much funnier than carbuncle. Cybertruck, I guess. Drive safe to Burning Man, everyone.
Yay.
Accuracy Third is produced by Accuracy Third. The music in this episode is by me. I haven't written the actual music yet, but the title of the music is Fuck You, You Fucking Piece of Shit, IDF Motherfucker. This podcast is brought to you. Oh, do we not say fuck the IDF here? They only kill hundreds of journalists and children a year.
Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by our patrons on Patreon who do not necessarily endorse anything I have to say, but in a way, they kind of do.
You can support this podcast by coming on this podcast and telling us your Burning Man story, because that's all this podcast is. If it wasn't, it would just be the three of us fucking around in front of microphones, and only like 12 of you would like that.
And holy shit, one of the greatest ways to support us is to come to our listener appreciation party on Playa if you happen to be there this year. It is on Wednesday of event week at
2 p.m.
And that want to talk about it?
No.
They've got a lot going on.
Got a lot going on.
Want to talk about it is what comes on the TV show when you've just watched some show that's got suicidal themes or child abuse or something.
Hey.
Got a lot going on, which is at what address?
345 and A.
Yeah, come on by. We're going to be serving Bacardi cocktails.
And we will have our flag, I know, because it's packed in the backpack where all of our swag is. And if we don't have our flag, we also don't have any stickers or patches for you. So let's all cross our fingers that we've got our flag on Wednesday at 2 p.m. at camp. Got a lot going on.
Bacardi cocktails contain no Bacardi.
You can reach out to us at our email address at accuracythird, all spelled out, at gmail.com, and on several social medias. You'll figure out the ones because they're the ones that we're on. You should also join our Discord. The link is in the show notes, and burnernarc.com.
Get your Maslow's Hierarchy of Thirst t-shirts at burnernarc.com. burnernarc.com. Thirst traps for your chest.
Drive safe to Burning Man, everyone.
Don't swerve for rabbits.
Have a good year.
Doop, 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 doop.
I gotta say, like, and this is no offense to any of the other weddings I've done, because I've done some weddings that brought me so much, like, filled my heart so much. But I did a double wedding for my hub's camp, and that, like, connection with that, I mean, that was amazing. It was amazing to get to, like, marry people that you're already collaborating with, but who have never met you in person yet. Like, that shit was...
Have you considered being a cult leader? I'm pretty sure the Moonies did this in mass.
Yo, can I tell you how often people actually say that to me?
Yeah.
And the answer is absolutely not. Not a good thing to do. But apparently a lot of people think I'd be a good cult leader.
It's the hair.
So
when you can grow it out like this, the charisma is just assumed.
So I'm like the one person who's really gotten away with making up his own Playa name, right? It makes sense. I run the Assless Chapel. I can call myself the Assless Chaplain, and everyone buys into it. I had some Playa names before. By the way, I'm going to support you guys, but you're definitely not coming up with the fucking Playa name for me. But last year, these two cute pole dancers came up with a name for me that I was just like, if I wasn't already, like, it ain't the most fitting name for me, but it's so badass. They were like, here's Drug Overlord Jesus. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm not like Drug Overlord at all. And I know Jesus was Jewish, but like really at this point?
Dude, if we were in a room and someone was like, look at Drug Overlord Jesus over there, I'd be like, oh, that guy?
And I was like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? And they're just like, yo, you know how some people got BDE? Like, you got Drug Overlord Jesus energy. And I was like, I don't see it at all, but this is maybe the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
Those two humans really saw you, really witnessed you.
That's the thing about radical self-expression. You do it without even knowing.
I'm like if I came up with my own Playa name, it would be lost and confused. I feel like that's usually what I am. But like when these beautiful women said, I was like, it's amazing that people have no idea what or who I am.
You should make sure to put that in your burner profile.
My Playa name, lost and confused?
No, Drug Overlord Jesus.
Yeah, it really suits you.
You don't have to use it on Playa at all. Just make sure that when you get emails from the Lord,
all have to say Drug Overlord Jesus.
Wait, why? Why would this be of benefit to me?
It's a benefit to me. Like it's not about you.
Yeah, it's just to give chuckles to people at HQ.
Okay. I feel like the Assless Chaplain.
It's already a good
decent
name.
chuckle attached to it. And I can actually like be the Assless Chaplain in the default world to some extent, apparently.
Well, so when you come and do a volunteer role because you want to do more, you could be that while you're volunteering.
I have to run, love. I can't do.
You can't come out for a week early and do work before you run your camp.
You know what? My youngest kid is 9. Mm-hmm. When he's 18, maybe I do it. Give me 9 years. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be there for your kids.
Yeah. Well,
otherwise they come out like me.
When are you bringing out your kid?
I told my kids because they actually are like, what's this Burning Man thing? And they know like other kids whose parents do Burning Man, and they know families that take their kids to Burning Man. They're like, why don't we come to Burning Man? I'm like, because my camp is wildly inappropriate for children. It is. You know, like, I don't know if you guys have had this, but like when you talk to your parents about Burning Man, and they're like, no, I get it. Burning Man's really crazy. But I know like you, when you're there, like one of those people really into the horror, I'm just like, no, we're the camp other people say they're not. Like, we're pretty degenerate, like, so, and it's okay that my kids know that, but they can't be part of it. So I've told my kids, I'm like, you know what? Self-reliance. When you make it to Burning Man when you're ready to make it to Burning Man, dude. Or you go with your mom. But you're not coming to my camp.
My sister-in-law asked me when I was going to take my niece, and I was like, when she's 21 and has gone once on her own, then absolutely she's more than welcome.
I mean, here's the horror story. I remember one year, they like on the BMIR and a bunch of other stuff, drink tons more wine. We're going to have like a Middle Eastern fist fight. In a little, like after
I don't like confrontation. I don't like physical violence even more.
It's okay. I'll never, whatever. You can just beat on me. It'll be fine.
I won't turn that down. Don't threaten me.
I don't
with
know
a
if
good
I
time.
loved that answer or hated it. I'm really mixed on it. But I just remember like the whole Playa. And this was, before cell phones it could carry anything. Everybody yelling like the name of a fucking teenage kid. Yeah. Like ran off. And so like the whole Playa, like,
they shut down gate when this happens, because if someone under 18 disappears, then they stop letting people leave and they stop letting people come in for trying to identify where this person is. And there's a big difference between when that happens when that person is 7, and there's a big difference when that person is 17.
Yeah. I mean, I was telling Big Man, because I'm Rex, is that it?
Yeah, you got there.
Oh, I'm so smart.
I told you we need to keep introducing ourselves at the beginning of the episode.
I mean, honestly, for those of you readers at home, I showed up at this place and some barefoot dude who, honestly, it's a pretty nice house. I was amazed that this dude could hold down his life to keep this house based on what he looked like. Showed up, and I love it. I love it. I just love it because that's. I'm going to say that's how I am. That's how I think I am. Yeah, but I'm much douchier than that. Like,
You haven't looked that close at the house because the moment that you start looking, you're like, there's very weird art everywhere. It's a very
dude,
like
this right here is amazing. It's not weird. It's spectacular.
You check around because D-Day's art is everywhere, whether you want it to be or not. Like you haven't seen the snake thing with the full grill of human teeth lurking in the corner of the living room.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, like my whole life, that thing you have kids, mortgage, job. You look back on the part of your life where you're like traveling internationally and whatever. What from now on is going to be different. I'm going to be like, I just want to live with Rex and D-Day. Like that's like I literally just want to like hang out with these dudes all day, and I don't know, have some job or another, but like I just want to dude, your guys' place is fucking amazing. But I got to tell you, I feel like the biggest, like I literally was like, man, they got a cushy job. This fucking podcast stuff. But you know what? It's like people who, I every year I grow 10, 20 gallons of olive oil. I used to grow, I pulled them out, but like hundreds of bottles of wine, like thousands of pounds of fruit. And a lot of people would be like, well, that's worth some money. And I'm like, no, it's not. It just, whatever, dude. Like if you don't, like nobody... No grocery stores like I want to buy. You know what I mean?
Want to buy from someone who has 20 trees.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's just, and
it could maybe pay for the booth the one day you took it to the farmer's market.
It pays for nothing. It is negative income.
But you are more prepared for the libertarian end of the world.
Well, the end of the world doesn't have a political skew.
Well, I mean,
it's just you guys showing up and being like, hey, remember that one time?
I mean, do give me your address before you leave.